Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Are you feeling charitable? Then smash the subscribe button and the like button, and please do follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Well. It has absolutely been a disastrous year for Disney and Lucasfilm, and John Boyega's interview with GQ magazine, or whatever you call it, is a disaster for the studio and the company. They have suffered through COVID-19 in the closure of their parks. Their Star Wars franchise is in tatters cinematically. So John Boyega made a massive play with this massive interview for GQ magazine. Let me quote you something as much as I can hit on the exact words the lad used. He said, everyone sees Hollywood actors and Hollywood as these tree-hugging lefties, but as a black man, that's not the experience that I've had. Now, that's a very interesting and factual statement, and this is what I've told you before. People in the entertainment industry will say one thing and do the other. On social media, they'll try and convince you that they're kind, perfect, moralistic people. When they get home, they'll kick the cat and the dog, or maybe lock them in a cage so they can watch them fight. These are the type of people you are dealing with. If I had children, I would absolutely cut out my left eye before allowing them to go in that corrupt, criminal town that is called Hollywood. I love films. I love storytelling. But the entertainment industry is full of corruption. But on Twitter, they're always calling out corruption. They are the most corrupt industry there is. And John Boyega is calling this out. Now, John Boyega, of course, has been saying a lot of things ever since the build-up to Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. He even allegedly lost his script, which fell into the hands of someone trying to sell it on eBay, and someone found it and they got it back. I don't know. All this stuff has been building up within John Boyega for a very long time. This is a very frustrated, angry young artist, a very good artist who we've seen in Attack the Block and many more projects before Star Wars. Now, when he was first seen in this trailer, the first trailer for The Force Awakens, everyone went nuts. A black stormtrooper? What? No, this can't be right. Now, this was seen as a very racist attitude. But in fact, I think most people were surprised there was a black stormtrooper, because in Star Wars, the Attack of the Clones, it was told to us that they all looked the same. They were all clones, right? And they looked a certain way. And they wasn't black, right? And I think that's part of the shock of this situation. But John has seen that as a very racist reaction. Now, when I first saw John in this sequence, and I'd never seen John in a film before, The Force Awakens marketing, I didn't question anything. I just thought, right, what's going on here? And that was it for me. I was very intrigued and interested. Right, so I'm not going to read the whole of the GQ interview with him. I'm going to read the one that matters to us geeks and nerds, and that's the Star Wars bit. And I'm sure you've heard it read out and spoken about already. John has been very vocal on Twitter yesterday, saying it's time to move on. He just wanted to put his thoughts here. So let's see what he had to say. It's so difficult to maneuver, he says, exhaling deeply, visibly, calibrating the level of professional diplomacy to display. You get yourself involved in projects and you're not necessarily going to like everything. But what I would say to Disney is, do not bring out a black character. Market them to be much more important in the franchise than they are, and then have them pushed to the side. Let's repeat. What I would say to Disney is, do not bring out a black character, market them to be much more important in the franchise than they are, and then have them pushed to the side. It's not good. I'll say it straight up. he's talking about himself here, about the character of Finn, the former stormtrooper who wielded a lightsaber in the first film before being somewhat nudged to the periphery, but he's also talking about other people of colour in the cast. Naomi Ackie and Kelly Marie Tran, and even Oscar Isaac, a brother from Guatemala who he feels suffered the same treatment. He's acknowledging that some people will say he's crazy or making it up, but he recorded character hierarchy of The Last Jedi was particularly hard to tame. Like you guys knew what to do with Daisy Ridley. You knew what to do with Adam Driver, he says. You knew what to do with these other people, but when it came to Kelly Marie Tran, when it came to John Boyega, you know fuck all. He actually says that. So what do you want me to say? What they want you to say is, I enjoyed being a part of it. It was a great experience. Nah. I'll take that deal when it's a great experience. They gave all the nuance to Adam Driver, all the nuance to Daisy Ridley. Let's be honest. Daisy knows this. Adam knows this. Everybody knows this. I'm not exposing anything. He is on a breathless roll now, breaking his long corporate omerta to touch on the unthinking systematic mistreatment of black characters in blockbusters. They're always scared. They're always freaking sweating. And what he sees as the relative salvage job that returnee director J.J. Abrams performed on The Rise of Skywalker. Everybody needs to leave my boy alone. He wasn't even supposed to come back and try to save your shit. Even though he also acknowledges that it was an amazing opportunity and a stepping stone that was precipitated so much good in his life and career. So, he's very adamant and defensive of J.J. Abrams. You need to leave my boy alone. He came back to save your shit when he wasn't supposed to come back. This is a very vital statement, not just for J.J. and from John, but from me personally as a very big J.J. Abrams fan. And I feel he is a very good guy, a very talented guy. No one co-creates Lost or Alias, you know, if they're not a genius. And I really look forward to him getting his hands on my favourite character, Superman. It's very clear here that John Boyega has an affinity for J.J. Abrams, and he's not happy with the shit he's getting in the blame. At the end of the day, the vision, his vision for Star Wars, the sequel trilogy, was whipped away from him, really from the middle of The Force Awakens. J.J. had a great vision for Finn. This was a character, a black character, who was going to break his chains of slavery, break his chains out of the Last Order. This was going to be a very compelling, thought-provoking story. And so-called Disney, who apparently care about representation and inclusion, weren't really interested in that. And as soon as we got to The Last Jedi, he was pushed to one side. This was one of many, many problems within the film. Basically, they took Finn, they took John and Kelly, the Asian character and the black character, pushed them together in a very, very grade Z mission. It was pathetic. It's the most racist thing you could do. You know, the whole thing for me was they set up such a great relationship between John's character and Daisy's character, or JJ did in The Force Awakens. And as soon as JJ turns his back, John and Kelly are dumped to one side. And it's ridiculous. This was one of my major issues with the film. But apparently the people who don't like The Last Jedi are racists and sexist. No, I'd say the people who made The Last Jedi are the racists and sexists. And it proves it right here in black and white. He is palpably exhilarated to be finally saying all this. But to dismiss these words as merely professional bitterness or paranoia is to miss the point. His primary motivation is to show the frustrations and difficulties of trying to operate within what can feel like a permanently rigged system. He is trying to really to let you know what it feels like to have a boyhood dream ruptured by the toxic realities of the world. Wow, let's reread that. Primary motivation is to show the frustrations and difficulties of trying to operate within what can feel like a permanently rigged system. Because John, my friend, John Boyega, my man, you are working in a permanently rigged system. And if you were my friend, and if you were going to take this avenue in your career to Hollywood, I would have said no. They use people, they abuse people, they bleed them dry, and they cast people of colour so they can say, hey, people of colour, we're doing you a big favour here, we are representing you. That's not representation and inclusion. That's racism of the highest magnitude, saying, look, people of colour, we're putting one of you in a film. Aren't we good people? No, you're not. No, you're not, because that's not how representation, inclusion and kindness works. You sit down with your actor and you pour out a great character. This was going to be a story of someone breaking the chains of slavery, right? Basically, that's the analogy of Finn escaping the First Order, right? And it was going to be massive. And I was looking forward to his arc going from episode 2 to episode 3. Because I still rate The Force Awakens, because I think there was an element of freedom, maybe in the first quarter of that film, for J.J. Abrams. And I think his vision for that film and the sequel trilogy was very good. But it was whipped away from him by Kennedy, right? By the people running Disney. And let's not forget, the same people who betrayed J.J. Abrams betrayed George Lucas with his very own sequel trilogy. The godfather of Star Wars, the man who birthed the concept of Star Wars, who worked day and night to read autobiographies, to research heroes, right? And they said, no, you don't. It's just Star Wars. A few fancy ships. We'll put a black man in the screen. Everyone will be happy. That's not how it works. They betrayed everyone for their bottom line. But if they actually told a great story of someone breaking the chains of slavery from the First Order, a black actor, a black character, Oscar Isaac, right, Poe and Finn with this great friendship, right, and if that actually developed into something special, hey, anything could have been done with it. We could have had spin-offs. What did John say months ago? You're not going to Disney Plus me. John Boyega. Now listen, I don't agree with everything the guy says. I think sometimes and I did question his rally speech at Black Lives Matter. I did feel it was a bit of pre-planned. He claims in the interview it's not. So I'm going to have to take his word for it. But in terms of what he's been saying about Star Wars, it is bang on the nose. This goes beyond anything that the fandom menace say, or the gripes we have with The Last Jedi, or where Star Wars is going, or where Star Trek is going. It's not about that. It's about this man, this young man saying, do you know what? Fuck my career in mainstream movies. Fuck my career. It's just like what Ray Fisher's been doing. Fuck my career. By the way, their careers are going to be fine, right? Because there's a little company called Warner Media now who are run by outsiders from Hollywood, which means they're doing things the right way, right? They will represent and include people the right way. And they won't tell you, hey, black people, hey, Mexican people, hey, Hispanic people, hey, Greek Cypriot people, we're doing you a favour. We're representing you and including you. No, that's not what they're doing. Wow, I was absolutely blown away by this interview. Credit for John, for coming out and doing this interview, because it was extremely important. But it doesn't just matter what I think. This is a really important issue for the future of the entertainment industry, something I am so involved in. So I want to know what you think about what John Boyega had to say. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back with more videos whenever I can be bothered. See you again soon.